Most people think potty training is just about teaching a puppy where to go, but here's what actually trips everyone up. You're not just choosing a location, you're deciding what habits your dog will carry for the next decade. Pick wrong for your situation, and you'll be fighting accidents and confusion for months longer than necessary. I'm Stephen Whitlow, and I've spent over 20 years training dogs and walking owners through this exact decision. You're listening to Total Pet Parent Podcast. Quick note before we dive in. Everything you're hearing is researched, written, and verified by real trainers and experts, but the voice you're listening to is AI generated, which lets us get you more episodes more consistently. If you've been with us for a bit, thanks for coming back, honestly. And if you're new to the show, glad you found us. We release new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you'll have a steady stream of practical dog advice coming your way. Today's episode is all about crate training versus puppy pads and figuring out which method actually fits your life. All right, here's what you need to know. So let's just put it out there up front. Crate training is better for most puppies. It builds long-term outdoor potty habits faster and cleaner. But puppy pads absolutely have their place, especially if you're in an apartment, you've got a tiny breed, or your mobility is limited. I've been doing this for 2 decades now, and the crate training versus puppy pads question comes up constantly. The real answer? It depends completely on your living situation, your daily schedule, the size of your breed, and what you're actually aiming for long-term. We're going to break down both methods here so you can figure out which one will genuinely work for you and your pup. Now, let's talk about timelines and how well each method actually works. Here's what I've seen play out over and over. Crate training gets most puppies reliably house-trained in about 4 to 6 months, sometimes even faster with small breeds, which is interesting because they've got smaller bladders, but their metabolisms run quicker. Puppies learn outdoor potty habits fast when they're motivated to keep their sleeping area clean. It's just how they're wired. Puppy pads, they stretch that timeline out quite a bit. You're teaching 2 separate behaviors instead of one. First, it's go inside on this pad, and then later you're saying, actually, forget that, go outside instead. That's confusing for a lot of dogs. Some puppies, especially toy breeds like Yorkies, Chihuahuas, Malteses, they do just fine with pads their whole lives. But medium to large breeds, they often struggle hard with the transition. I've worked with families whose 1-year-old labs still preferred peeing on the kitchen mat because it felt exactly like the pads they'd been using for 8 months. The biological piece really matters here. Puppies naturally want to keep their den clean. That's why crate training works so well. The crate becomes their den. Pads actually contradict that instinct because you're teaching them it's okay to eliminate indoors. That's not wrong necessarily, but it's definitely a longer road if your end goal is outdoor-only potty habits. If you want a complete roadmap with age-by-age expectations, we've got a puppy potty training schedule article that breaks it all down. The crate method lines up perfectly with those developmental milestones. Pads tend to blur the timeline quite a bit. Moving on to daily schedules and how this fits into your actual life. Your schedule is going to determine which method you can realistically stick with. Crate training demands intensive supervision for the first 6 to 8 weeks. You're taking your puppy outside every 2 to 3 hours during the day, right after meals, after play sessions, first thing in the morning. Miss one of those windows and you're cleaning up accidents. I live in Oregon, and let me tell you, taking a puppy out at 2 in the morning in January rain is not fun, but it works. The consistency pays off fast. By week 8 or 10, most puppies are clearly signaling when they need to go out, and you're stretching those intervals to 4 or 5 hours. Puppy pads let you sleep in a bit longer and skip those freezing midnight trips, but you're committing to daily pad maintenance indefinitely. Quality disposable pads need changing 2 to 3 times a day, more if you've got a larger dog or multiple puppies. Washable pads save money over time, but they add laundry to your routine. Either way, you're dealing with indoor pee cleanup every single day. So who actually has time for crate training? People with flexible schedules, work-from-home setups, families where someone can rotate puppy duty. It's also perfect if you're already planning to take time off after bringing your puppy home. That first month of intensive supervision sets you up for years of easy outdoor potty habits. Who needs puppy pads? Anyone on the 15th floor of a building with one slow elevator. Owners with mobility issues who can't manage multiple daily outdoor trips. People with toy breeds that genuinely struggle in extreme weather. And honestly, anyone who knows they can't maintain the crate training schedule. A pad system done consistently beats a half-hearted crate attempt every single time. Now let's get into living space and breed considerations. Your home layout and your dog's size make certain methods way more practical. Crate training works beautifully when you've got direct outdoor access, a yard, a patio door, quick elevator access to a grassy area. You're reinforcing outside is the potty spot every single time, and that repetition builds the habit fast. High-rise apartments change the whole equation. I've worked with owners in downtown Portland condos where getting outside means leashing up, waiting for an elevator, crossing a lobby, and walking 2 blocks to the nearest grass patch. That's a 10-minute trip minimum. Puppies can't hold it that long in the beginning. Pads become a practical necessity, not just a preference. Breed size matters enormously here. Toy breeds under 10 pounds, your Pomeranians, toy poodles, Papillons, they often do great with pads permanently. Their small bladders mean more frequent potty breaks, but smaller volumes make pad cleanup manageable. Plus, these tiny dogs genuinely struggle in harsh weather. A Chihuahua in a Minnesota winter is miserable. Expecting outdoor potty trips in sub-zero temps just isn't realistic. Medium to large breeds, anything over 25 pounds, create logistical problems with pads. A golden retriever puppy produces a lot of urine. That means larger, more expensive pads and way more frequent changes. By the time that pup hits 50 pounds, you're changing pads 3 or 4 times daily just to keep up. Crate training makes way more sense for bigger dogs because the outdoor space can handle the volume without any cleanup on your end. If you're dealing with a particularly stubborn pup, regardless of which method you're using, we've got a guide on how to potty train a stubborn puppy that covers troubleshooting techniques for both approaches. Let's think about long-term goals and habit formation. Where do you want to be in 2 years? Crate training builds toward complete outdoor elimination. Your dog signals when they need to go, you let them out, they do their business, everyone's happy. Once that habit's solid, it's solid for life. You're not buying supplies, you're not cleaning indoor messes, and you can travel knowing your dog will adapt to new outdoor potty spots. Puppy pads create a permanent indoor option, which sounds convenient until you realize it means permanent pad purchases and daily cleanup forever. Some owners genuinely love having that backup. If you're sick, if the weather's dangerous, if you're running late, the pad's there. That flexibility matters for certain lifestyles. But here's the downside I see all the time. Dogs trained on pads often generalize the soft indoor surface concept to things you didn't intend. Bath mats, area rugs, that nice rug in the guest bedroom, they all feel similar to a dog. I've worked with countless families frustrated that their pad-trained dog keeps peeing on the bathroom rug even though they're also using their designated pad. The dog isn't being bad, they just learned that indoor soft spots are acceptable potty locations. Crate training avoids that confusion entirely by establishing one clear rule. Indoors is not for potty, outdoors is. The boundary is simple and dogs understand it quickly. For more foundational guidance, our complete article on how to potty train a puppy walks through the core principles that make crate training so effective. One more thing to consider. If you're planning to move, travel frequently, or have your dog spend time at other people's homes, crate training creates a portable skill. Your dog will potty outside anywhere. Pad training ties you to maintaining that indoor setup wherever you go, which gets complicated fast. Let's talk money. Crate training has a higher upfront cost, but almost nothing ongoing. You need a properly sized crate. For small breeds, that's about $40 to $60, medium breeds, $60 to $80, large breeds, $80 to $120. Add crate bedding or a mat for $20 to $40, and enzymatic cleaner for accidents, another $15 to $25. You're looking at $75 to $165 total to get started, then basically nothing except occasional bedding replacement. The crate size matters. Puppies need enough room to stand, turn around, and lie down comfortably, but not so much space that they can pee in one corner and sleep in another. That defeats the whole keep the den clean instinct. A lot of owners buy a large crate with a divider panel and expand the space as their puppy grows. That saves money long term. Puppy pads run $30 to $60 monthly for disposable options, more if you've got a larger dog or need heavy absorbency pads. Quality matters here. Cheap pads leak, don't control odor, and dogs often tear them up. That's $360 to $720 a year, every year, for as long as you're using pads. Washable pad systems cost $100 to $200 up front, but you'll need 3 to 5 pads to rotate through the laundry, plus the water and detergent costs. You'll also want a pad holder or tray to keep pads in place. That's another $20 to $40. And honestly, most pad users eventually buy training sprays to attract puppies to the right spot. That's another $10 to $20 every few months. Check the show notes for a link to the current price on quality options. The real cost difference shows up over time. 2 years of crate training costs maybe $200 total. 2 years of puppy pads costs $720 to $1440. That's a significant difference, especially when you're also dealing with the ongoing time commitment of pad changes and cleanup. We've got a puppy potty training supplies checklist that covers both methods if you want the complete breakdown. So, who should choose crate training? You're a great fit if you've got direct outdoor access and a flexible schedule for those first few months. This method works beautifully for families where someone's usually home, remote workers, anyone planning to take puppy leave. The time investment is intense up front, but drops off quickly as your puppy develops bladder control. Choose crate training if you're getting a medium to large breed puppy, anything expected to reach 25 pounds or more as an adult. The method scales perfectly with bigger dogs, while pads become impractical with the volume. It's also ideal if your long-term goal is outdoor-only elimination with no indoor backup option. You want clean floors and no daily pad purchases? This is your path. Finally, crate training makes sense if you value long-term simplicity over short-term convenience. You'll work harder in months 1 through 3, but by month 6, you're done. Your dog's reliably house-trained, the crate becomes a cozy den they love, and you're free. Now, who should choose puppy pads? Pads are your solution if you live in a high-rise apartment or have limited mobility. Anyone who can't physically manage 4 to 6 daily outdoor trips, whether that's because of stairs, distance to outdoor space, or health limitations, you'll find pads genuinely helpful. They're also perfect for extreme weather climates, where taking a tiny puppy outside in dangerous heat or cold isn't safe. You should consider pads if you're getting a toy breed puppy under 10 pounds. These small dogs often do great with permanent indoor potty options, and a lot of toy breed owners appreciate having a backup for bad weather, late nights, or days when outdoor access isn't convenient. Pads also work well if you're committed to the ongoing maintenance and you understand you're potentially creating a permanent indoor potty habit. Some owners genuinely prefer that flexibility. Having an indoor option means never worrying about making it home in time or finding outdoor space when traveling. If that backup is worth the cost and daily maintenance to you, pads are a solid choice. Just go in with realistic expectations about training timelines and the challenges of transitioning to outdoor elimination later if you change your mind. Let's hit some frequently asked questions. Can I use both crate training and puppy pads together? You can, but it usually slows down the overall training process because you're teaching 2 different potty locations instead of one clear rule. If you need pads for overnight or times when you absolutely can't get outside fast enough, place them in a specific spot far from your puppy's crate and only use them when necessary, not as a general option. The clearer your rules, the faster your puppy learns. Mixing methods works best only if you're committed to a longer training timeline and can accept some confusion along the way. How long does it take to fully potty train a puppy with each method? Crate training typically achieves reliable daytime control in 4 to 6 months, with nighttime control often coming even sooner, since puppies naturally hold it longer while sleeping. Puppy pad training takes 6 to 12 months or longer if you're planning to transition outdoors later, because you're teaching the pad habit first and then retraining for outdoor elimination. Essentially, 2 complete training processes back to back. What if I start with puppy pads and want to switch to outdoor training later? Switching is definitely possible, but it requires patience and a systematic approach. You'll need to gradually move the pads closer to your door over several weeks, then outside, then eventually eliminate them while reinforcing outdoor potty breaks with high-value treats and consistent scheduling. Expect the transition to take 2 to 4 months depending on your puppy's age and how ingrained the pad habit is. Be prepared for some accidents during the adjustment period as your dog figures out the new rules. Here's the bottom line. Crate training wins for most puppies because it builds outdoor potty habits faster, costs less long-term, and eliminates the confusion of indoor versus outdoor elimination. It requires serious time commitment up front, but that investment pays off with a reliably house-trained dog by 6 months old. If you've got yard access, a flexible schedule for those first few months, and any breed medium-sized or larger, crate training is your best bet. Puppy pads make sense for specific situations, high-rise living, toy breeds, mobility limitations, or when you genuinely want a permanent indoor potty option. Just know you're signing up for ongoing costs and daily maintenance, possibly for your dog's entire life. Neither method is wrong. They're tools for different situations. Pick the one that matches your actual lifestyle, not the one that sounds easier on paper. Consistency with whatever method you choose beats a perfect plan you can't stick to. That wraps up this episode of Total Pet Parent Podcast. Thanks for listening all the way through. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you'll have fresh content waiting for you 3 times a week. If you got something useful out of this episode, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave a 5-star rating and write a quick review. It genuinely makes a difference because that's how other dog owners find the show when they're searching for help. And go ahead and hit subscribe or follow so you get notified the second a new episode goes live. Talk to you soon.